All right, welcome back to video 3 in this 3-video series. This is the third and final video of building your own digital plane. Again, this is a masterclass for coaches and consultants between $2,000 and $20,000 a month. And if you haven't already watched the first and the second video, I don't know really what you're doing here, so go back to the first and second video. If you are still here, I expect you to have found your engine and also configured your plane with the correct seats for you to serve yourself, serve your passengers, and serve your life around your business as well. Today, we're going to be talking about, very importantly, number 3, the cockpit and the flight deck. So as you can see here, this is very clearly a flight deck. If you can't see, zoom in on your screen, but this is the cockpit of the aircraft, of course, and the cockpit is responsible for a few very critical things. First and foremost, this is where you have all your instruments, right? So your gauges about elevation and your different levels of oxygen, and this can be very easily reflected back to cash flow in your business, how much revenue are you operating at, what's the lifetime value of your clients, etc. So you need to monitor your instruments. That's first and foremost very important. Your instruments, and you need to set navigation. Because if you think of it, with your engine found, which is responsible for the takeoff in the first place, and with your seats configured correctly, all that's really left to do is to set the navigation and to actually fly your digital plane, your business. And these two main points are the most important things you can focus on when navigating a successful flight. Setting your navigation comes down to creating your unique flight plan. So your flight plan should be something that you hold yourself accountable to. If you think of how people operate commercial airplanes, they set a flight plan before they actually take off, but they also adjust that flight plan based on how the flight is going. So you might encounter turbulence, you might encounter different things, which requires you to monitor your instruments and set a new navigation for you to maybe drop an elevation or increase an elevation. You can reflect this back to increasing your revenue, or maybe focusing on your current people in your aircraft and your airplane to increase profitability, etc. This in its entirety is really the growth and the marketing of your business. You're flying to new levels, you're managing your different KPIs, key performance indicators, KPI. And this is obviously something that is time consuming and demands your attention and effort. It can be quite an assignment for most pilots or people who operate their own info product businesses or coaching and consultation businesses to both actually fly the plane and at the same time service their passengers. So think of it like this. Imagine that you're both the pilot and you're the crew in the airplane. So you're actually servicing the passengers, and you're at the same time trying to fly the plane itself. If you spread yourself out too thinly and focus only on flying the plane, you're not going to have satisfied passengers. And if you focus only on actually servicing your passengers and there's no one at the cockpit, well then obviously the plane's going to crash and you're never going to be able to gain significant altitude. So, summarizing, you found your engine, you found the things that you're really good at doing, you can provide continuous results in and you actually love doing it, so it satisfies you on a personal and professional level. You've configured your seats and your plane correctly, so you've got clear different tiers of service, so you can service people at different levels of involvement with different needs and desires for their experience in your digital plane or coaching and consultation business. And thirdly, combining those two, you need to make sure that you have both the capacity to operate, fly your digital plane, at the same time being able to supply your cabin, which is your passengers, with a sufficient level of service that they're satisfied about. If you feel like you are unable to both service your passengers and fly the plane at the same time, you are not alone. This is a very common theme I see after having spoken with hundreds of different coaches and consultants just the last year alone, that people want to focus on what they love doing and they're not really made to be marketeers. And really, that's very, very, very understandable. If you go into being a coach and a consultant, then you're not really signing up to start promoting and flying the plane. You want to focus on actually being the crew and servicing the passengers, which is where you actually find your passion in doing what you love doing the most. Therefore, rounding off this and turning it into some actionables you can take today, consider your capacity to actually navigate your plane while you're servicing the passengers inside it. This is why we created 3 different levels of service in our business to support passionate and proven coaches and consultants to actually fly their digital plane, because a lot of times you do need some sort of support in your cockpit, whether that be just understanding how this cockpit actually works, whether that be actually having a co-pilot next to you that can help you look at the right instruments and fly the plane, or whether that be someone actually managing the entire cockpit while you strictly focus on servicing the passengers. This is 3 different levels of service and engagement that we provide to our pilots or our partners. But they all have the same common end goal, which is making sure that you can spend the most time servicing the people you love to serve, giving you the most fulfillment and enjoyment on a day-to-day basis. Because whether you want to operate a large vessel like an A380 or a smaller airplane like a Cessna or a Cirrus or a Diamond aircraft, it's the same goal of you wanting to get airborne. And if you aren't already airborne, you want to probably gain elevation. You want to achieve more revenue or more freedom in your life or the ability to travel. And all of what we do supports that actual transformation. It's just at 3 different levels of engagement to ensure that you can focus on what you love doing the most. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this mini series on how to build your digital plane. Do actually remember that if you have any questions around this and you feel like, okay, well, what does it actually mean for me specifically? Because yes, it sounds very good and just focus on your cockpit and configure your plane, but how does it look for me? Then please reach out to me, because right now we're more than happy to have the conversation. You'll be able to reach out to me on Instagram with the link in the description down below, or fill out the form on our website to get in touch with me or someone from my team. And we'll personally take you through how we've done this for countless coaches and consultants in the past to figure out exactly how does your ideal flight plan look, your ideal seat configuration, and how do we hone on your specific engine to create the ideal flight for you to service you professionally and personally moving forward, so you no longer have to worry about both flying and servicing your digital plane.